Honourable members, I have an announcement to make today. I wish to inform the House that I have received 2 letters, one from the Honourable 4th Member for Portrush North and Montaillong and Opposition Whip, Honourable Adrien Duval, and another one from Honourable 1st Member for Stanley Rosehill, Honourable Paul Béranger, concerning the allocation of seats in the Assembly. I wish to remind the House that Standing Order 6 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly provides that the allocation to members of seats in the Assembly chamber shall be made by the Speaker. I have further taken note that the contents of these letters have been made public prior to any consideration or ruling by the Chair, which I deeply regret. In view of the rapid evolution of the situation, I had to respond to questions from journalists so that the public would not remain confused. But I have referred only to matters related to the seating arrangement. Honourable members, as you know, each member must have a dedicated seat according to our parliamentary tradition. But until I know exactly what the situation is with regard to Honourable Paul Béranger, Honourable Chetan Babulal, and Honourable Johanna Béranger, I will not allocate any seat to them today. They have informed me that they will not attend today's sitting. I will await a second letter from the 3 honourable members before the next sitting. I must emphasise that from the point of view of ethics, communications addressed to the Speaker should be treated with discretion, at least until such time as they are formally dealt with or brought before this House. The Chair's ability to discharge its functions fairly and impartially depends on the observance of established processes and the confidence that matters referred to it will be handled in an orderly and appropriate manner. Premature disclosure of such correspondence risks undermining that process and may affect the perceived integrity of parliamentary proceedings. Honourable members, I wish to stress that maintaining high ethical standards is essential to the proper functioning of this House. Exercising discretion, restraint, and respect for parliamentary processes reflects the ethical obligations of all members and strengthens public confidence in our institutions. I thank you.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Yes, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have given notice of the following private notice question addressed to Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Defence, Home Affairs and External Communications, Minister of Finance, Minister for Rodrigues and Outer Islands, whether in regard to the inter-ministerial committee set up to look into the economic and social impact of the present conflict in the Middle East, he will state A, the number of times the said committee met to date, indicating the outcome thereof. B, whether any report and or findings have been submitted in relation thereto, and if so, whether consideration will be given to table copy thereof, and C, the measures being contemplated to address the economic situation arising therefrom, indicating the estimated amount of value-added tax and excise duties to be collected on petroleum products during this financial year, and whether consideration will be given for the reduction of taxes and excise duties on the said products. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Prime
Yes,
Minister.
Madam Speaker, as I've already stated, Ever since the war erupted on the 28th of February of this year, I have been personally monitoring the situation very closely. Government has taken a proactive stance to mitigate its potential impact on our country. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, the situation in the Middle East has worsened, resulting in severe energy supply disruption. It is worth recalling that the International Energy Agency has described this situation as, then I quote, the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market, the largest. This will also result in a drastic reduction in liquefied natural gas and fertilizers. We are all continuously monitoring the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. Also, inflationary pressures are building up exponentially everywhere in the world. Many countries with far more resources than Mauritius have already declared a state of economic emergency. Madam Speaker, I may also add that a few days ago, the heads of the International Energy Agency, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank have agreed to form a coordination group to maximize the institution's response to the energy and economic impacts of the war in the Middle East. This war is causing, as I said, major disruptions in the supply chains, triggering sharp increases in international prices of oil, gas, but not only oil and gas, also grain and fertilizer. Freight and maritime insurance costs have also surged, and there's a renewed volatility in global financial markets. As a result, global growth has slowed. For a small, open, and highly import-dependent economy, such as Mauritius, heavily reliant on petroleum imports, tourism, and stable seaborne trade routes, these developments constitute a significant external shock with potential of long-lasting adverse implications, not only for inflation and growth, but also on the balance of payments and the cost of living. Madam Speaker, as of today, the price per barrel of Brent oil is $111 compared to 72.48 on the 27th of February before the war broke out. This represents an increase of 53%. Our import bill for petroleum products by the State Trading Corporation in March of this year has increased by 82%, due mostly to price increases over the previous month. It is expected that the import bill will rise further by around 21% in the month of April 2026. But this is an estimation, Madam Speaker, because as we know, we don't know how far how worse the war will be. The increase in global prices of food commodities and agricultural inputs is exerting increasing pressure on the cost of imported food. There are also pressures on the exchange rate of the rupee. With regard to Part A of the question, the Crisis Committee had a first meeting on Wednesday, the 1st of April, 2026. The committee has reviewed the work undertaken by the high-level committee, which I have set up and which is chaired by the Financial Secretary. In addition, the Crisis Committee has proposed a number of measures to mitigate the impact of the conflict on our country. As regards Part B of the question, a report has been submitted to me, and we will discuss this at the next meeting of the Crisis Committee, which is scheduled for tomorrow. We will then propose a number of measures that will be examined and submitted to the next Cabinet meeting for consideration. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part C of the question, as soon as the situation in the Middle East started deteriorating, several ministries set up a crisis unit to consider measures that would have to be taken. This was done, in fact, in different ministries. These include, A, the CEB has taken immediate measures to extend its stock of heavy fuel oil by maximizing utilization of coal by the IPPs and reducing its spinning reserves. B, the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities has re-engineered its energy-saving awareness campaign to discourage waste of electricity during peak hours and also outside peak hours. C, the Ministry has accelerated its green energy transition in order to reduce our over-reliance on imported fossil fuel. Under this government, a number of renewable energy projects and schemes have been reviewed for increased bankability and effectiveness. New schemes have been introduced to cater for the needs of different categories of consumers, namely domestic, industrial, and commercial. Some 405 megawatts are expected to be generated from the renewable energy projects within the next 2 to 3 years. D, the Ministry has also sent a circular to all ministries and departments on the 6th of April, instructing them to implement and reinforce energy-saving measures and to fix a target for a marked reduction of electricity consumption. E, drafting instructions have been given to the Attorney General's Office for the introduction of regulations this month to impose restrictions on the usage of grid power for superfluous activities that are not required for safety and security for a specific period of time. F, the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection has secured supply of petroleum products up to July 2026. The Ministry has also secured the supply of fuel oil up to May of next year. I would like to point out, Madam Speaker, that even before the war broke out, I raised the issue of security of supply of petroleum products with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That was during my state visit in September of 2025. I took up this issue again at the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi in February of this year. I am pleased to inform the House that a government-to-government agreement will be signed this week for the supply of petroleum products. As I've already stated in this House, had it not been for the irresponsibility of the previous government when they decided to unilaterally put an end to the contract with Mangalore Refinery and Petroleums Limited, our security of supply would have been guaranteed today. Mangalore Refinery was ours, and he told us he was no more interested in supplying petroleum products to Mauritius in view of the irresponsible action of the previous government in 2014. Madam Speaker, also remember the Betamax case. Let me refer to what the SCC itself stated in the High Court of Karnataka on the 4th of December 2017, and I quote, Mauritius has limited petroleum reserves and the same being an essential commodity. In the event that petroleum does not reach Mauritius within a stipulated time, that is with Pacific Diamond, I think this Saturday, through the said vessel, it shall lead to a paucity of petroleum to the entire petroleum industry and cause failure of the economy, and the commercial activities in the state of Mauritius will come to a standstill. This, Madam Speaker, in the court of law, by the STC, is a direct indictment of the then government's decision to terminate the contract with Mangalore refineries and to also cancel the contract with Red Eagle. Madam Speaker, for this financial year, the amount of value-added tax is estimated to be 3.9 billion rupees on mogas and gas oil. As regards excise duty, an amount of 4 billion is expected to be collected. Madam Speaker, in times of severe crisis, especially when existential issues such as energy and food security are at stake, there is absolutely no place for political demagogy. This situation calls for strong leadership grounded not in ad hoc measures, but in coherent, forward-looking policies that protect our population, especially the most vulnerable, and reinforce our national resilience. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable Leader, your first
Yes, thank you.
supplementary.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I take note, and I believe the population also will take note, that it is more than 1 month after the beginning of the conflict that the Honourable Prime Minister will chair tomorrow his first interministerial committee, and you will agree, Madam Speaker, that government has wasted a lot of time. Can the Honourable Prime Minister today inform the House of the specific social measures which are being envisaged to mitigate the social impact of the conflict on the citizens of this country with a view to supporting their purchasing power. Can we have an indication today, Madam Speaker?
Yes, Honourable Prime Minister.
Let me rebut what the Leader of the Opposition has just said. I said in my answer that as soon as the war broke out, within a few days, we set up in each ministry concerned a crisis unit to consider measures that should be taken, and I mentioned the measures, the CB, the Ministry of Commerce and all this. I said all this. There was a first meeting for the crisis committee. I have a report, but I'm not circulating the report, but this is not for circulation. We're going to have another meeting tomorrow, and then we'll decide which are the measures that will be proposed to Cabinet on Friday.
Okay. Second question.
No, I made reference in my earlier supplementary question to the Prime Minister himself,
Yes,
not
I
to
think
the other committees.
doesn't
He's the head
matter.
of this country, Madam Speaker.
He has answered.
Madam Speaker, during my last PNQ to the
May
Honourable
I-
Prime Minister,
One moment. May I, Chair? The Prime Minister replied. Now you carry on with the second question.
I wanted to clarify what I said.
Yes, but he replied.
Madam Speaker, during my last PNQ address to the Honourable Prime Minister on the same issue, I raised two pertinent questions. One was the reintroduction of the CSG
One moment. Will you
allowance.
please sit down. Yes, Honourable Etuaria, you're going to again stop the Leader of the Opposition. When you spoke last time, nobody stopped you. So I don't want to hear anything while it is his time. He has 30 minutes. He can ask questions. We may not agree or disagree or agree. Please carry on.
Madam Speaker,
No.
like I said, I raised two pertinent issues. One was with regard to the CSG allowance, the reintroduction of the CSG allowance, and the other one was a temporary, I mentioned it, temporary top-up for workers earning less than 20,000 rupees, which was turned down by the Honourable Prime Minister. Is the Honourable Prime Minister aware that a press article dated today, it is in the newspaper today, made mention of price increases on all commodities, which the Minister of Commerce said he was monitoring? Now, may we know from government what government is proposing to help those categories of workers, when we know, Madam Speaker, that monthly expenses of a family today is around 50,000 rupees.
Yes.
Perhaps the Leader of the Opposition should be reminded they bankrupted the country. We are paying for the bankruptcy that and now you want me to top up? In which world are you living? Now,
with regard to petroleum products, that is mogas and gas oil, I understand, Madam Speaker, that the State Trading Corporation has to pay an additional 30 million USD per shipment. And for the months of March and April, the country is expecting 3 shipments. Will the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House where the STC will get the necessary funds in USD to pay for those 3 shipments?
Somebody should have asked that question to the Minister concerned, because I don't know the exact price. But you are contradicting yourself. You are saying give relief, at the same time, where do you find the money to pay? You are contradicting yourself.
Don't speak from a sitting position. Please.
They are not in government. They are in government, Madam Speaker.
Yes, but
Now, may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, if the conflict is extended, let's say, because the situation is worsening now, until the month of June, government will have to find an additional 90 million USD or more for 3 more consignments, bringing to a total of 180 million USD. May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether government has done an analysis on how foreign currency reserves will be adversely impacted by these additional payments and in turn reduce our import cover, Madam Speaker?
This is precisely why I said, why did the previous government cancel the contract with Mangalore. This would not have happened. This would never have happened. You know what you did? You paid commissions to agents who then shared the commission with the different ministers who was involved. This is how they govern the country. This is why they cancelled the Mangalore, because Mangalore was government to government, nothing to do with, sorry.
Madam Speaker, government has secured supply of these petroleum products for the month of March and April. Can the Honourable Prime Minister confirm to the House that supplies for the month of May and June has been secured if the Strait of Hormuz remain closed for the whole month of April amid growing competition with other countries to access alternate sources, Madam Speaker?
I just explained, Madam Speaker,
have to wait for the
even
answer.
before the war started, on my official visit to India, I asked Prime Minister Modi whether he would try to use his best officers to have us, again, have a deal with India for the petroleum products. As I said, Mangalore, they contacted Mangalore Petroleum Limited. They refused because they said they have been burnt in Mauritius once, they're not going to do it again. They refused because of the irresponsible action of the previous government, MSM. This is why. Otherwise, we would not have been in this situation now. Now he's quoting different prices, but we would not have been. Now, sorry, Madam Speaker.
No, it's just that the question, it seems to me, there's so much noise, it's difficult to understand. But it seems to me that this particular question was on food security?
Yeah.
Was that it? You say it again. Say it again. Energy, security and petroleum. So we're still on the same issue. We're still on the same issue. Okay.
I repeat it again, Madam Speaker, for the House to note that the contract for Mangalore refinery was not cancelled, Madam Speaker.
Now,
Can I?
How did we stop?
That's a different thing. With regard, Madam Speaker, with regard to heavy fuel oil, that is fuel which is used for production of electricity, the Honourable Minister of Commerce promised 2 weeks ago to table the contract between STC and Sara Energy Limited, and he has not done so until now.
Question.
Will the Honourable Prime Minister see to it that all contracts and payments done are tabled today? Otherwise, it will look as if government wants to hide something from the population.
I didn't quite understand. You want me to ensure that the contracts are actually we pay whatever? I don't have to instruct him. He knows what he has to do. I don't have to instruct him. He knows what he has to do. But let me say, Madam Speaker, I think the Honourable Leader of the Opposition maybe
I can't hear the Prime Minister. What is the point of shouting off your heads if I can't hear either the Leader of the Opposition or the Prime Minister? We're going to close in 10 minutes. Please, for the next 10 minutes, refrain from all this. Please, Prime Minister.
As I said to the Honourable Leader and to the House, that even before the war broke out, I asked the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, if we could again start a government-to-government agreement for petroleum products. He, as I said, he agreed. They spoke to Mangalore, who refused. Then he has spoken to Indian Oil, who has agreed. And I said, tomorrow, not tomorrow, I think the day after, Thursday, we are signing the agreement for petroleum products. Unfortunately, while Mangalore could also provide us with heavy fuel, Indian Oil cannot.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because they broke the contract. But this, we are looking to see whether there are other possibilities. But as I said, I think I did say that we have enough until May of next year in our reserve. I also should add, Madam Speaker, since we're talking about energy, and you're saying about all these, you're trying to create panic, under the previous government, did you know that our share of renewable energy had reached 17%? It was 24% when I left government. 70, they actually reduced it. and now they're doing a hue and giving us lessons.
No
I'll
statements.
come to my supplementary question. It's not
Question.
about what the Prime Minister replied. My question was about the contract between STC and Sara Energy Limited. The minister responsible stated that he will table the contract. Up to now, he has not tabled that contract. Will government table that contract, Madam Speaker?
Ask the leader of the opposition, how many private contracts have at the table in the House?
Anyway, you will be able to ask the minister himself.
Now, with regard to LPG cylinders, can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House why there has not been an increase in the price of gas, LPG gas, for commercial purposes, but only for domestic purposes, that is the 12 kg and 6.5 kg cylinder, when we know that the revenue from commercial gas cylinders is used for cross-subsidization?
This question that should have been addressed to them, but I can tell him. We have to look at the whole of the economy. We're not going to grind the economy to a standstill just because there's a war in the Middle East. We have to look at the interests of the country. We are examining this. I must tell the leader of the opposition, we are examining this. You will learn from it after the cabinet meeting on Friday.
Okay.
You have to correct that, otherwise people will believe that you are protecting the
Don't
growth,
make
the
statements.
gros
No
business.
statements.
Madam Speaker, the recent increase of 10% on diesel has greatly impacted the SMEs. Will the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House what measures the committee chaired by the Ministry of Finance
Mr. Bichu.
is considering to alleviate the considerable burden on the SMEs are facing, Madam Speaker?
But this is exactly what I said early on. We have to look at the economy as a whole and not just the population. We have to look at the SMEs, we have to look at the businesses, what they are able to do, otherwise we'll grind the economy to a standstill. We are taking measures which we'll announce on Friday.
Your friend is asking for a question. Do you have more? Okay.
Madam Speaker, it is public knowledge that bakers are asking for an increase on the price of bread, that is
Yes.
per maison. And the Honourable Minister of Commerce is not agreeable to that request. Will the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House what is his stand concerning this request and whether the price of bread, that is per maison, will be increased in the days to come?
Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I should say that the price of bread hasn't been increased for my attendance for the last 10 years. 10 years, they haven't been increased. Everything else is increasing, but not the price of bread. So they're asking, it's a legitimate demand that the prices be increased, otherwise they can't run the business. And this is what we are considering among the measures that we'll take. But I want to say that it is for 10 years it hasn't been increased.
Faut faire son pain soi-même, hein? You have one more? One last. 1 moment. One last for the, then Mr. Duval and then you. Okay? Oh, okay. Up to you.
Yes, may I ask the Prime Minister, 2 weeks ago, during the last PNQ, I had asked with regards to the estimates on how much the inflation of fuel and more gas prices will be passed on to consumers. Now that the Prime Minister is signing a deal tomorrow, can he now give us the estimates of how much is going to be passed on to the consumer and whether he will make good on his campaign promise to abolish VAT, which is being taxed on top of the excise duty on every litre of diesel and fuel in Mauritius?
Nobody knew in Mauritius. How did you wreck the economy? We did not know. When we made proposal, we did not know. It's when we did the state of the economy that we knew what damage this previous government has done to this country. Therefore, and I also said in my answer, if I remember, that our import bill for petroleum products has increased by 82%. So we can't, now you're telling me to what? To reduce the cost? So we can't.
No.
The question is, what is the estimate?
Honourable members, I don't think Prime Minister can reply more to your questions. Time is going. You have another one, you said. Let him say another one.
You can't insist.
Should...
I've got one to rule you.
Madam Speaker, jet fuel has doubled since the beginning of the conflict, increasing from 400 USD to 875 USD per metric ton, forcing airlines to cut capacity, add fuel surcharges, and raising airfares from 10 to 40%. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House what are the projections for the tourism sector for this year, and what specific measures have been put in place to support the tourism sector, Madam Speaker?
So let me say, Madam Speaker, just to inform the House, if he doesn't know, that everywhere, all tickets, airplane tickets have been increased dramatically. In fact, if you look at the percentage, Air Mauritius has still not increased by as much as some countries who have more resources than us have increased. So this is inevitable. Yeah, that I know. So what do you want me to do now? To reduce the price of... We cannot, the price of oil, I don't control the price of oil. What do you want me to do? To stop pumping oil?
No ping pong, no ping pong, no ping pong. Yes, Mr. Lubin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether consideration will be given to temporarily reduce tax, VAT and excise duties on petroleum products, as is being done by several countries around the world,
Several countries were not in this bankrupt situation. The answer is no.
Yes, okay.
Madam Speaker, may I ask the Prime Minister, with regards to airfare, is the Prime Minister aware that now airfare of Air Mauritius to go, for example, to Paris is up to 150,000 rupees for economy, twice as much as what Emirates is proposing or other airlines? Therefore, it is clear that Air Mauritius is taking advantage. Does he agree that Air Mauritius should reduce its profit margin right now?
Madam Speaker is comparing Air Mauritius to Emirates. There cannot be any comparison with Emirates. You cannot compare Air Mauritius to Emirates. How can you compare Air Mauritius to Emirates? That is my question.
Okay. Okay, time up. We're going to go to PMQT now. Yes, honourable members, table has been advised that PQ B251 will be replied. Bon, je peux parler. Je vais rester tranquille jusqu'à ce que j'ai la parole. Okay, PQ B251 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I'm now calling on Mr. Ramkalawan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B233.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Did you say 234? 233.
PMQT,
Sorry,
Prime
yeah.
Minister.
I'm informed by the Director General of the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation that the broadcast and sub-licensing rights for the FIFA World Cup of 2026 across the African region, including sub-Saharan Africa, are held by New World Television SA, which is a company based in Togo. The two main broadcasting rights which are most commonly commercialized to broadcasters are free-to-air broadcasting rights and pay TV broadcasting rights. The free-to-air broadcasting rights for the FIFA World Cup of 2026 are meant only for public broadcasters, whereby the public can access the channels without paying any subscription fee. The pay TV broadcasting rights are meant for subscription television operators only. On the 2nd of December 2025, an agreement was signed between the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation and the New World Television SA, which, as I said, is a company based in Togo, in respect of the FIFA World Cup of 2026. Under this agreement, the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation has secured rights to broadcast 34 free-to-air matches out of the 104 matches scheduled for the tournament. as included in the package allocated to sub-Saharan Africa. This package comprises the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony, some other matches, and the final. These matches will be broadcast on MBC 11 Sports Channel. The full FIFA World Cup 2026 package will be made available on the MBC Play app. This is a digital streaming platform developed to deliver television and multimedia content directly to viewers over the internet upon a payment of a subscription fee of 300 rupees. I wish to point out that for the FIFA World Cup of 2022, the MBC Play app was available on smartphones only. However, this year the current MBC Play app is being upgraded and will be compatible with on both smart TVs and smartphones.
Smart TVs and phones. Okay, Mr. Ramplawan. Okay, Mr. Bichu. Yes.
Yes, Madam. B234.
Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed by the Bank of Mauritius that in accordance with the Banking Act 2004, banks have up to 3 months from the end of their financial year to submit their audited accounts, and I'm further informed that the latest available audited accounts of Silverbank Limited are for the financial year ending 31st of December 2021. I'm tabling a copy of the audited accounts. Madam Speaker, Silverbank has not submitted its audited accounts to the Bank of Mauritius for the financial years 2022 and 2023. In fact, Silverbank was unable to appoint any external auditor. The reason being that the auditors were unwilling to conduct the assignment for Silverbank in the light of the previous serious adverse information regarding Pratik Gupta in the Trafigura case, whereby freezing orders were issued both on Pratik Gupta and his wife, Ginny Gupta, who is the main ultimate beneficial owner of the bank. The House will recall, Madam Speaker, that it was at its meeting held on the 11th of June 2021 that the board of the Bank of Mauritius approved the acquisition of the shares of Banyan Tree Bank by the shareholders of Silverbank. The board of the directors of the Bank of Mauritius were then chaired by the then former governor of the bank, that is Mr. Havesh Kumar Sigulam. The Banking Act of 2004 provides for no single shareholder should hold more than 10% of the shares in a bank, except with the prior approval of the Bank of Mauritius. Given that the Banyan Tree Bank was under conservatorship, the approval of a 75% shareholding to a single shareholder, 75%, in this case was Ginny Gupta, with, may I inform the House, had no banking experience at all. But this was granted by the board. This was nothing short, 75% to somebody who has no experience in banking. This is nothing short, Madam Speaker, of a scandalous and very suspicious transaction, while also endangering the existing and future depositors. When we look at the pattern of events, there was clearly an axis of evil which existed from the very inception of Silverbank in our jurisdiction. The House would not be surprised to know that one of the close associates of Mr. Gupta, one Mr. Prasad Rao Bopama, was even picked up from the tarmac at SSR International Airport with a total VIP treatment, red carpet treatment, upon the instructions of the former Minister of Finance. Just like this. Du jamais vu dans les annales de notre pays. This is how the previous MSM regime was operating, mafia style. I hope people remember all this when the time of election comes, which will not be now, of course. Madam Speaker, in February 2024, Silverbank was placed under conservatorship by the Bank of Mauritius, just like its predecessor, the Banyan Tree Bank. At that time, the actions taken by the Bank of Mauritius included the issue of several cautionary letters requiring for additional capital and the imposition of restrictions on the granting of loans. Silverbank completely ignored those Bank of Mauritius instructions. Once Silverbank was placed in conservatorship, several potential investors expressed an interest to acquire. However, only one prospective investor submitted an application in May of 2024 to acquire significant interest in Silverbank. The investor's business plan was rejected in December 2024 because the proposed equity injection was inadequate. In April 2025, a second offer for the acquisition was made by a local investment vehicle set up in Mauritius. The Bank of Mauritius has been engaging with the prospective applicant since then, including on the requisite information for the completion of the application. In the interest of depositors and creditors, the Bank of Mauritius granted several extensions to each successive deadline until in December 2025, in January and February 2026, to allow the applicant to complete his application. He was asking for extra time all the time, that he be given more time. As of the 30th of March 2026, the Bank of Mauritius had not received a complete application. It is noteworthy that documents relating to proof and source of funds had not been submitted at that date. The Board of Bank of Mauritius met on the 30th of March 2026 to discuss the way forward on Silverbank. Based on all the available facts and information, and taking into account the financial situation at Silverbank, the board decided to terminate the conservatorship of Silverbank and appoint a receiver. Another shocking element of the Silverbank saga, Madam Speaker, was the confession made by one internal auditor of Silverbank that he uncovered loans of about 7.7 billion rupees, which were granted to companies related to no other than Pratik Gupta. Furthermore, this auditor stated 18 million rupees were transferred to Pratik Gupta or to entities belonging to him from Silverbank. They allowed the transfer. This is a classic case, Madam Speaker, of institutional conspiracy of the highest order, with both internal and external connivances to defraud depositors' money. Needless to say that the internal auditor, because it was MSM government, needless to say, he drew the attention, he was suspended. He was the guilty party to have drawn the attention of the bank. So he was suspended when in fact his courage should have been commended. No doubt we will see more things like this as the investigation unfolds. Madam Speaker, as regard to part B of the question, I'm informed that public bodies and institutions had invested a total amount of 3.55 billion rupees in Silverbank. Yes, I'm going to say that. As of February 2026, the remaining deposits held by public bodies and institutions at the Silverbank amounted to around 907 million rupees. And they are as follows: 523 million by the COVID-19 projects development, 523. 158 million by the National Insurance Company Limited, and 132 million by the NIC General Insurance Company Limited, both subsidiaries of the National Property Fund Limited. 58 million by the Municipal Council of QPIP, and 36 million by the Sugar Insurance Fund Board. Madam Speaker, as I already stated in this August Assembly, the deposits made by these public bodies and the institutions were purposely done to create a misleading enhancement of Silverbank's balance sheet. Purposely done. This is the significant investment made in a bank with no proven track record. No proven track record speaks for itself that the decision had been driven by intervention from the highest authorities, and we know, in fact, from the former Minister of Finance and the former Financial Secretary. It is ironic to recall, Madam Speaker, that these same authorities have issued a circular way back in 2019 instructing government-related entities to place their surplus cash in treasury certificates, which carry far lower risk. You can guess, Madam Speaker, why the former Minister of Finance revised that decision and ensured that these public bodies and institutions place their money with a bank with no proven track record and hence putting their investments at risk. This also, when you think this guy was given VIP treatment at the airport. As part for part B of the question, B2 of the question, I'm informed by the Bank of Mauritius that in January 2025, only after a change of government, the conservator made a statement to the police with regard to what appeared to be conspiracy to defraud Silverbank in favor of Mrs. Ginny Gupta or companies beneficially owned or related to her or to Mr. Pratik Gupta. Subsequent to this statement, the Commissioner of Police referred the matter to the Financial Crimes Commission. 2 suspects have been arrested for the offence of conspiracy to commit money laundering in breach of Section 4 of the Financial Intelligence and Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2002. Interpol has also been requested to place Mr. Gupta on red notice in relation to the investigation in Mauritius. Further actions by the FCC include a disclosure order made on 19 parties who applied and obtained in relation to material financial reports which has been forensically analyzed and which has shown that a total sum of 7.9 billion rupees has been siphoned and transferred to several entities in multiple jurisdictions linked again to Mr. Gupta. 39 loan files secured from Silverbank following search warrants issued under Section 64 of the FCC Act of 2023. 43 witness statements recorded, 11 defense statements from suspects, 2 search warrants under Section 60 issued on premises of suspects, I prefer not to mention the names, who were later arrested for the offence of conspiracy to commit money laundering in breach of Section 4 of FIMLA 2002. Informal cooperation for funds which have already been traced and transferred to foreign jurisdictions and to locate other foreign suspects who have already left Mauritius. An attachment order of $53,000 currently in force up to March 2027 on entities linked to Pratik Gupta. In 8 mutual legal assistance applications are in process with Seychelles, the UK, Malaysia, Singapore, South Africa, British Virgin Islands, USA, and UAE. Concerning part C of the question, I'm informed by the Bank of Mauritius that the conservator submitted his report on a regular basis. The latest report was submitted in March of 2026. However, as per the Bank of Mauritius Act and the Data Protection Act, these reports cannot be made public until the investigation maybe is over. I'm informed by the Bank of Mauritius that the conservator, Mr. Arvind Gokul, was maintained as conservator as he was already in discussion with a potential buyer of Silverbank. The bank felt replacing him midway in the process would have set the process backwards and cause further delays with additional financial implications with the coming of a new conservator. I'm also informed, Madam Speaker, by the Bank of Mauritius that the first report of the conservator submitted in March 2024 estimated that non-performing loans amounted to 8.1 billion rupees out of a total loan portfolio of 8.3 billion. 8.3 billion was given, 8.1 dubious. It is unthinkable that such a high level of toxicity of a loan portfolio could have been tolerated by both the Silverbank and the Central Bank, who turned a blind eye to this monumentous mismanagement, if not defrauding people. As at date, only a sheer amount of 209 million rupees have been recovered since the placement of Silverbank under the conservatorship. Madam Speaker, these figures point not only to a clear pattern of gross management, of deliberate fraud, of deliberately misleading the public, the Mauritian public, raising concerns to the control mechanism that governed the operations of Silverbank and the Bank of Mauritius at the time. We have without any reservation condemned the conduct of the bank in the past. It is yet another catastrophic legacy of the previous government, and we now have to deal with it. Today, allow me to reassert our determination and to state unequivocally and forcefully that we will not allow our reputation as a well-regulated international financial sector to be the least tarnished. Madam Speaker, it is precisely for this reason that we are reinforcing our legislative framework through the introduction of the AML CFT CPF bill, which is being discussed at the moment, to further strengthen the fight against money laundering.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Yes, Mr. Bichuk.
I thank the Honourable Minister for his reply. Prime Minister, sorry. Madam Speaker, this financial disaster wouldn't have been possible without the egregious violation and collapse of the regulatory framework. Therefore, I would ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he will initiate a full-fledged commission of inquiry so that the public gets to know the in and outs of this mega financial crime, and also the culprits be dragged to court. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, there is no commission of inquiry now. It's public inquiries. But this is why we bring drastic change in the organization of the police and the FCC. This new bill that will come to the House, we will have then people who know how to audit trails. We don't have the ability at the moment. This is why they're getting away with it. We will put in place people who know how to do these works, and we will drag, to use your word, we'll drag each and every one of them to court.
Yes, Mr. Juan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Prime Minister mentioned only 209 million
Question.
recovered. Can I know from the Honourable Prime Minister how much the conservatorship cost?
In fact, the result, only 209 million has been recouped. Yeah, only that so far. I'm sorry?
No, don't speak from
Oh,
a
the
sitting-
fees. The fees.
Mr.
I expected
Juman.
this question to come from somebody. The fees of the same person who they kept, the Bank of Mauritius decided to keep him, reduce his fees by half. I can give you the total amount later.
Members should not speak from a sitting position. We can't even hear. I can't hear very well. Also, no more statements before questions. Let me say, it's so easy to use the words who, when, how, whether. Then you put whatever you want. Then it's a question. Leçon de grammaire.
Thank you, Madam. We can see here a very good example of deux poids, deux mesures when we compare the case of the Grammar Bank and the Silver Bank. So, why were the previous government so prompt in the case of the Grammar Bank and so slack when it comes to the Silver Bank? Thank you.
Very good question. Bremen Bank, they cooked up a story of a Ponzi scheme, and then much later, after everything was done, after the Prime Minister, Minister Bada, all these people close to them, took their money from the bank, then they closed the bank. The public, never mind the public. They can lose the money, but they who already have a lot of money won't lose the money. It was deux pas de mesure. This was done on purpose. And we are going to sit on this again.
Okay, yes, Mr. Bichuk, your last.
I'm still choosing my word, whether, how, when.
Yes,
So,
please.
How far,
Very good. Very good.
may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, what quantum of the depositors' money can we expect to recover and give back to them in this particular
That's a
scandal?
very,
It's a very difficult question.
yes, tall
to
order
answer
for
because
him.
I can't
for the
say.
moment.
They have stolen the money, wherever they placed them, I don't know. So we're going to have to do the audit trail to know.
Thank you so much. Mr. Bijan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B235.
Madam Speaker, Regulation 83.3 of the Road Traffic Construction and Use of Vehicles, Regulations 2010, provides that no person shall modify the exhaust pipe of a motor vehicle likely to cause excessive or unusual noise or to alter the silencer causing greater noise. I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that constituency number 6, that is Grand Bé-Poudre is covered by 5 police stations. Since the 1st of March 2026 to the 5th of April 2026, 16 contraventions relating to alterations of silencers to motorcycles exhaust have been issued as follows: 6 cases by the Goodlands Police Station, 3 cases by the Pudodo Police Station, 3 cases by the Plaine de Papaye Police Station, 3 cases by the Grand Gobe Police Station, and 1 case by the Grand Bay Police Station. With a view, Madam Speaker, to strengthening deterrence and curbing down noise pollution from modified exhaust systems, the 4th schedule of the Road Traffic Act has been amended in 2025 to increase the fines related to modified exhaust systems by motor vehicles under Regulation 83 from, it was 2,000 rupees, it is now 10,000 rupees.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. One question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Whether, given that deterrence of modified motorcycle exhaust offences and no wearing of helmet while riding motorcycle requires sustained enforcement capacity during both daytime and nighttime hours, will the Honourable Prime Minister consider directing the Commissioner of Police to allocate additional police officers to each police station so that these police officers can conduct regular monitoring, respond quickly to public complaint, and maintain a visible deterrent presence with adequate equipment? Thank you.
Yes, Prime Minister.
We will, but there is an exercise of recruiting more police officers all the time.
Next time you come straight to the question, please. Yes, Mr. Rukni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the Prime Minister advise if he's satisfied with the work or the enforcement work being done by the police in respect of the motorcycle activities as mentioned by the Honourable Bijan?
One can never be totally satisfied, but we deal with what we have.
Okay. Next question. Mr. Duval.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed that on the 3rd of April 2026, there have been 31 resignations following the resignation of Honourable Paul Raymond Béranger as Deputy Prime Minister. In regards to Part A of the question, I'm informed that there has not been any resignation from our overseas missions. Regard to Part B of the question, there have been 18 resignations in parastatal bodies. These resignations are on 23rd of March, I'll give the names, Mr. Ashwin Naidu as member of the Mauritius Film Development Corporation. Second, Mr. Keshwav Kumar Jaman as legal advisor for the Sugar Industry Labour Welfare Fund. Mr. Shad Chelapemal as chairperson of the National Youth Council. Mr. Mona Garen Tripathi as board member of the Mauritius Institute of Education. That was on the 23rd of March 2026. On the 24th of March, Ms. Daniela Bastien as part-time chairperson of the Outer Islands Development Corporation. Mr. Lionel Jonathan Lajoie as member of the Conservatoire National de Musique de François Mitterrand Trust Fund. Mr. Iqbal Kalkatia as chairperson of the Mauritius Sports Council. Dr. Kailash Suba as member of the Mauritius Institute of Education. On the 25th of March 2026, Mr. Kritanan Atma as member of the Mauritius Marathi Cultural Center Trust, Ms. Gabriela Batu as member of the National Heritage Fund, Mrs. Marie-Corina Catherine Kreis as chairperson of National Adoption Council, Mrs. Brigitte Roussetti as independent member of the National Women's Council. Now, on the 30th of March 2026, 3 persons have resigned from 4 parastatal bodies, namely Mr. Selnavaden Mutusamy as chairperson of the Sugar Industry Labour Welfare Fund and board member of the National Children's Council, Mrs. Nandini Minakshi Miniadi as member of the National Women's Sports Commission, and Ms. Zara Noah Lennon as member of the National Women's Sports Commission. Madam Speaker, there have been 2 further resignations on the 1st and 2nd of April, namely Mrs. Bibi Shira Banu Golfi Noor Mohamed as independent member of the National Women's Council, and Mr. George David Grenade as member of the Trust Fund for Excellence in Sports. Madam Speaker, as regard to Part C of the questions, there have been 6 resignations in advisory position in ministries, namely Ambassador Vijay Singh Makan as Special Advisor on Diplomatic and International Trade, to the former Deputy Prime Minister on the 20th of March 2026, Mr. Kishore Kumar Pertab as Senior Advisor on Policy and Strategic Matters to the former Deputy Prime Minister on 20th of March 2026, Ms. Daniela Bastia as Senior Advisor on Communication and Strategic Matters to the former Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Nabil Mulna as Advisor to the Attorney General, Mr. Shafiq Ahmad as Senior Advisor to the former Deputy Prime Minister on the 23rd of March, Mr. Isham Ali Ibrahim as Senior Advisor on Environmental, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change Matters to the Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change on the 23rd. It's a long list, yeah. As regards part D of the question, 3 resignations have occurred in state-owned enterprises, namely Mr. Med Duba as board member of the State Informatics Limited on the 23rd of March 2026, Mr. Ganesha Singarabelu as Director, State Investment Corporation on the 24th of March 2026, Mr. Kritanan Atma as Chairperson of the Mauritius Housing Company Limited on the 25th of March 2026. As regards to part E of the question, 4 resignations have occurred in state institutions, namely Mr. Kishore Pertab as Director of Economic Development Board on the 23rd of March 2026, Mr. Vishnaden Singarabelu as Co-opted Council Member of the National Productivity and Competitiveness Council on the 24th of March 2026, Mr. Gérard Michel Olivier as member of the Sports Arbitration Tribunal on the 24th of March 2026, and Mr. Louis Giovanni Bid Catherine as member of the Price Observatory Committee, whose letter was received on the 30th of March of this year.
Yes, yes.
The Prime Minister forgot to add the name of Mr. José Anasano, who resigned on the 24th of March as well, and who was present in Brazil.
That is not a question.
The question is, Madam Speaker.
You are forever angry because I'm not stopping others.
No, Madam Speaker.
I have stopped many people today. Don't make statements.
Yes. The question is, Madam Speaker, there are key people. Is the Prime Minister agreeable that he should, if he hasn't done so, secure the allegiance of key people who are still in post and that were close to the former Deputy Prime Minister? I will not give names. You will know it better than I. But have these persons now sworn allegiance to government, to yourself, or are they still
I don't think there's a need to
faithful
answer that.
to the former? There is key people in key institutions.
Do you want to
but I know what
answer
he's trying to say.
So they have.
The question in its... Don't speak. I'm not sure we are still in the chambers today. Somebody is trying to speak. Yes, Mr. Bichu.
Speaker, unless I missed it, has Ambassador Perrier from Mozambique resigned?
I
or
didn't
is
hear that.
she
No,
still
Mr.
in post?
Bichu, I can tell you, I remember, nobody from abroad resigned.
Yeah, nobody,
But
including
he
her.
must listen to the reply. Is that right? Nobody from abroad resigned, right? Okay, where were we? Mr. Duval, you finished with your question? Yes. Okay, so now we got Mr. Kira. What did I was?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. B237.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, I presume the honourable member is referring to 2 brothers, I think they're twins, bearing the same initials, that is ACP. I wish to refer him to my reply to parliamentary question B1039 of the sitting of 25th of November 2025, wherein I indicated that Mr. BR had on the 28th of March 2023 made a declaration to the Central CID as a precautionary measure against Mr. Arvin Sipi, just to distinguish them. He was the director of Arriva Immobilier Limited, to the effect that he had signed a contract for the purchase of a villa from import of the Arriva Villas project for the amount of 8.2 million rupees and had paid the 5 million rupees. Later on, Mr. ACP requested him to pay an additional 2.2 million out of the remaining balance of 3.2 million. He refused to pay and he dropped the proposal to purchase the villa. I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that police had started an inquiry into the case and have recorded statements from 6 persons. On the 13th of May 2025, upon completion of the inquiry, the Central CID forwarded a case file to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. Thereafter, the Director of Public Prosecutions requested for several clarifications which were attended by the police. On the 29th of December 2025, the DPP returned the case file to the police, requesting to inquire into the outcome of civil cases entered by Mr. BR against Mr. ACP and vice versa. The case was fixed for merits before the Supreme Court on the 10th of March 2026. On the 1st of April 2026, the Office of the DPP requested police to provide an update on the outcome of the civil cases entered by Mr. BR against Mr. ACP, who is the director of Arriva Immobilier Limited, and vice versa before the Supreme Court. On the 3rd of April 2026, the Registrar of the Supreme Court informed the police that Mr. BR and Arriva Immobilier Limited had on the 10th of March 2026 agreed before the Supreme Court that Arriva Immobilier Limited would pay to Mr. BR the sum of 5.7 million rupees in full and final settlement before a notary public by the 30th of June of this year. Both parties jointly moved that the agreement be made a judgment of the court, and the motion was granted. Following these developments, the police will refer the case back to the Office of the DPP for advice. On the 25th of February 2025, police had received a second complaint in connection with the Ireva Villa project made by one Mr. VP, who had made a full payment for the purchase of one villa, which had not yet been delivered. The police have initiated an investigation, and so far statements from 6 persons have been recorded. I'm informed, Madam Speaker, by the Financial Crimes Commission that in the light of several complaints made by victims against Venezis property owned by Mr. ACP and Arriva Immobilier Limited owned by the other ACP, investigations for money laundering have been initiated against these 2 companies. The Financial Crimes Commission had in March 2025 and July 2025, following several complaints made by victims, initiated 2 investigations for money laundering with predicate offense of swindling occurring as from the year 2022 against Mr. AC, owner of Venezis property, and Mr. ACP, owner of Arriva Immobilier Limited. 11 victims were interviewed by the Commission and 21 statements have been recorded. 1 person, namely Mr. AC, was arrested. Amount allegedly defrauded is about 50 million. All these for the transactions bearing the seals of public notaries, Mr. KR and Mr. DR, and these 2 public notaries were also interrogated, the last one being on the 2nd of April 2026. The Financial Crime Commission is awaiting information from financial institutions to proceed further.
Yes.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. L'honorable Premier ministre, sait-il qu'il y a des cas où les acquéreurs ont déboursé presque la totalité de la somme au promoteur, alors qu'il s'avère, après évaluation, que moins de 50% des travaux ont été complétés? Dans ce contexte, peut-il informer la Chambre où on en est avec les amendements à la loi pour protéger les acquéreurs, comme il l'avait lui-même promis dans sa réponse à ma question B1039 en novembre dernier?
Yes, we are following all this, Madam Speaker. We will do the amendments, we will vote later because we have other priorities, but we'll be voting.
Thank you. Time is up. Time is up. Now I'm announcing that B249, table has been advised, that B249, 254, 245, 250, 248, 244, 247, 253, 242, 240, 252, and 255. I may have repeated, but this is what I've got, have been withdrawn. Now, PQB 262 will be replied by Honourable Minister of Local Government. B275 will be replied by Honourable Minister of Housing. B2796 and B309 will be replied by Minister of Tourism. Right? I think it might be wiser to break at this stage rather than start. You want one question? All right. I see you decide. Huh? Okay, Ms. Dauriaru, your question. Only one question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B257, please.
Madam Speaker, road congestion remains a persistent challenge, as the House is aware. Mauritius has inherited a colonial-era road network which was designed to satisfy the transport needs of that time and is not adapted to meet modern engineering standards or to cater for the current traffic volumes. The network comprises motorways, main roads A and B roads, and secondary roads. Over the years, the road network has been progressively upgraded to international standards, which includes the development of new motorway infrastructure with 4 to 6 lanes. Our current road network now spans over 3,000 kilometers, with approximately 1,300 kilometers being classified roads. Notwithstanding these improvements, there has been a significant increase in the number of vehicles on our roads. This high concentration of vehicles has contributed to congestion across the island. I'm informed that with a view to addressing road congestion, the Road Development Authority is implementing a series of measures which include, first, the construction of link roads and bypasses, second, junction improvements, and third, the provision of additional lanes across motorways. Moreover, to alleviate congestion at specific locations, the RDA is currently implementing short-term measures, including the following. 1, strip lanes at Naletambi and Saint Paul roads. Second, works along the A23-B70 link road at La Brasserie. Third, strip lane at Côte d'Or along motorway M3. Fourth, proposed slip lane at Ripaille along motorway M3. Fifth, proposed strengthening works along motorway M1. And sixth, proposed construction of flyovers at Canfoucault and La Vichy. Madam Speaker, I am further informed by the RDA that with a view to supporting sustainable development of the island by providing safe and fast connectivity to all parts of the country, as well as addressing traffic congestion, the RDA has been preparing a new strategic road network master plan in consultation with relevant stakeholders. This forward-looking master plan aims to address both current and future traffic demands and will guide the development of the transport infrastructure over the coming decades. The master plan encompasses major projects such as motorway M4, Ring Road Phases 2 and 3, the Jubray-Melrose Link Road, the Calbas Arsenal Solitude Link Road, the Tamarin Bypass, and the motorway M5 from the airport to Chemin-Grenier, amongst others. Madam Speaker, the congestion management strategy goes beyond building new roads infrastructure and encompasses a wider set of transport measures. Achieving sustainable mobility requires actions such as better traffic management and stronger public transport systems. This master plan aims to modernize connectivity, address road congestion, and support sustainable growth. Upon finalization, the approval of government will be sought for the implementation of the new strategic road network master plan, which is expected to shape our long-term mobility landscape.
Yes.
Can the Honourable Minister provide the timeline for implementation of the master plan?
We are working on the master plan, and I think it will go to the cabinet quite in the near future, but the implementation will take time. As you know, all road infrastructure projects involve heavy investment, and we know in which economic situation we are faced, the country is faced right now. But for M4, at least the M4 project, with the help, with the aid of the Indian government, we are going to start probably in the coming months, probably by July, August will start with the project from Forbach to Bel Air, the M4 project.
Ms. Sabapati, yes, you have one more?
Yes, one more.
She has one more.
Can the Honourable Minister provide data or information of the improvements in traffic flow resulting from the effectiveness of strategies already in place?
I said in my answer that we are at the same time, we're working on road projects, but we're working also on mitigation measures, short, quick win projects where we can solve lay-by, where we get slip lanes. We are working on these small projects which can be a quick win. For example, when you see on the highway, the Ripaille, we are having a slip lane. We are having at Naletambi, near Meteo, we'll be having a slip lane. This will at least mitigate the congestion problem.
Yes, Mr. Francois.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether the RDA signed any MOU with the Regional Assembly as regards to technical expertise, collaboration for road development, to avoid future congestion and to look into sharing of knowledge in ORIGs?
Yes, we had an MOU, and I recall that when August I was there last year, we signed the MOU with the Regional Assembly between the RDA and the RDA. And just to inform you that the project of the bridge at Muruk will be undertaken. We transfer it to the RDA so that the RDA does that project.
Okay, Ms. Dawiaru, and then Dr. Preya, and then we break.
Could the Honourable Minister state what budgetary allocations have been made for the said project?
You mean for the M4? If for the M4, it is a budgetary provision of 10.8 billion rupees, will be provided by the Indian government in the form of grant and line of credit.
Yes, Dr. Preya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the Honourable Minister please consider to classify roads that were in the past under the purview of the local government, which are more congested than before, and take them under his ministry, under the RDA, so that we can at least have bigger amount of budgetings for those roads?
Yes, Minister.
Yeah, every year we are taking a few roads from non-classified to classified. And you have one from your constituency, Beau Plateau Road, Beau Plateau, I think, over there will become classified road. And we're working also on a plan so that the RDA becomes the highway authority. But this will have to get the approval of government, cabinet and everything, so that the RDA can become the authority which looks after all road networks, because we know actually non-classified are taken care by local authorities and classified by RDA, and you have some by NDU. So we have to put some order in that.
Thank you very much, everyone. Now we suspend the sitting. I suspend the sitting for 1.5 hours. Come back at 2:30.